This is
Christian
and Daniel, and this is the Christian and Daniel Show. How you doing, babe?
I'm hungry.
You're hungry. Poor baby.
We're going to be talking about, for a second at least, we'll talk about how the joys of being 50. He's not, I am. And all the little medical things that come along with, like, it's like gifts from heaven, getting, all of a sudden there's all these medical tests they want you to do. Like, they love to stick cameras in orifices that usually don't have anything stuck in them, at least not a camera stuck in them. And I get to do that tomorrow. And I've been on a 2 days of just nothing but clear liquids.
So for those of you joining us, we were going to talk about some other stuff, but Christian has a colonoscopy tomorrow. And it's part of his, we had a checkup 6 months ago and get one again tomorrow. And if you've never had a colonoscopy before, basically what they do is they put a little camera up your butt, see if there's anything cancerous or polyps.
If you have polyps, they cut them out. And if you have, they look for any signs of cancer or anything, which is really important. And once you hit 50 on, the chances of cancer in your colon and rectum are like super higher. So that's why they want to see you. They want to see you once a year usually. I had to do it twice because my first time I didn't get cleaned out enough. Because one of the other joys of it is you get to, I call it colon blow, but you get to do this juice. And juice is like a very friendly.
Well, let's start from the beginning, because when you go to the doctor and they schedule a colonoscopy.
Also, that's why I look so attractive in my stretched out neck clothes. I'm in basically my sleeping clothes.
Yeah, well, Maria said, the drugs they give you, because you pretty much are out. They put you out.
It's the same thing that Michael Jackson died from, propofol.
But let's start from the very beginning.
And it's amazing.
You go to the doctor and they're like, we're going to schedule a colonoscopy. And then usually it's scheduled like a month in advance or something like that.
Yeah.
About. And then
you have to look forward to all that time to look forward to it.
The average colonoscopy, like the day before you start going on liquid diets. So they say nothing solid, nothing red, like red jellos.
You can't do red, blue, or purple. Because they all look like apparently blood in your colon.
Yeah. and you can't eat anything solid. You're basically eating just broths all the time.
Again, the word eating, I think, is a misnomer. You're drinking.
You're drinking
clear
broths,
liquids, which don't fill you up. They fill you up like physically, but hunger-wise, your body, like 10 minutes later, your body's going,
hello.
That was the entree. That was the
appetizer, the starter.
Appetizer.
But if you've never, ever had a colonoscopy before, our recommendation is start like 3-4 days before on a liquid diet.
It's torturous, but it's worth it. Because you don't want them. The only reason I have to go back is because the first time I didn't get cleaned out enough.
Yeah.
I will never let that happen. Well, you only can control so much. Maybe I am full of shit. But
technically and figuratively.
But this time I said, I'm going to do everything I can to be as cleaned out and prepped for this so I don't have to hear from them
I'm going to grab the bottle
for another solid year.
So they can see what it looks like.
Yeah. And it's not. No. Now let me make it clear. Colonoscopies do not hurt, at least while they're being done. They don't, you don't even know what's going on. You're like Michael, you're totally knocked out. This is the beautiful, they call it a PEG 3350 and electrolytes for oral solution.
So this is what you need to drink. Like, he's going to start drinking this at 6 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock right now, so at 6 o'clock he'll start. And unfortunately, once you drink it, you're in the bathroom for about...
and it's always recommended. Now, some people say I don't need to be in the bathroom, but my experience, the first time I experienced someone drinking that, they unfortunately weren't in the bathroom, and when it kicked in, they could not move fast enough to get to the bathroom before they made a brown trail on their carpeting.
And by then, they he means me.
Yeah.
So I've had 3. For those of you just joining us, this is the Christian and Daniel show, and we're talking about colonoscopies.
Because I get to do mine tomorrow morning at 7:15 a.m. I get to be up at 3 a.m.
to finish
the last part of this, because you only drink 3/4 of it tonight.
And then the rest of it tomorrow morning.
So it means I probably won't sleep at all tonight, much like last night. And
basically we're just talking about the importance of like getting checked out, and telling you some of our personal stories about
as much as I'm tortured right now, like right now my energy level's like 0. Like if someone said, let's go for a walk just to the corner from my house, no. If you could put me in a wheelchair and wheel me there, hey, I'm all for it.
So I've had 3 colonoscopies as an adult. Not as I never had them as a kid, but I had
Hopefully
one.
Not. Yeah.
I had one when I was when the biopsy.
The first time they went in that was when you were backed up.
Right. So when I was first diagnosed with cancer, they did one right before. That's how I got the biopsy.
Well, that was before cancer.
Right.
Right. And then the other 2 happened after cancer.
Right. The second one was in the hospital.
Oh God, yes.
Remember? And then the third one,
when you were bleeding.
I had to do one on my own for the follow-up.
Yeah.
So
that was fun.
When they first found the cancer, I did. Yeah. Well, okay. So the first time that I had to do my cleanse, it wasn't this one. It was 2 little bottles, and the first bottle you take it like 24 hours before. But I was like, oh, it didn't do anything. Like, this is fun. Remember?
He had a totally different.
Yeah, I had it's 2 little bottles.
It was 2
like soda bottles.
Innocent looking bottles. They look so not like this thing. This hideous, old-fashioned 1910 thing. His looked like very modern, very today. 2 little glass bottles, and one was clear and one was red.
Yes. And then
you take the clear.
And I take the first one, and you're like, of course.
So you don't have to do all this. You just take this one thing.
But I was like, nothing happened. This is great. I can do this tomorrow.
Now note, there's still the red bottle.
Yes. So my appointment was again like at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So I had to get up like at 2 o'clock in the morning to start taking it.
Oh, I remember.
So I drank the other one.
Well, you only had to get up early to drink it because it wasn't like this again.
No. It was just the drinking.
It was blessedly like a shot.
But not even 5 minutes.
Like he had gone back to his bedroom in bed.
No, I was sleeping on the couch, remember?
Oh, you were on the couch, that's right.
And I ran to the bathroom. And I was in the bathroom for the next 2 hours, nonstop. And it basically feels...
Yes.
Yes, it is. It is a good gas container.
Yes.
But it feels like somebody is grabbing your intestines and wringing them out.
Like picture wringing a towel dry. That's basically what happened to his intestines.
So
now, I never hurt from the 1910 stuff like he hurt.
Right.
This stuff, he hurt in a way that I had never seen anyone hurting.
Well, the second time was when I was...
Well, they had to do that the second time.
And this is when I had the artery broke.
Right.
When I had to go to the emergency room.
You did the regular.
Yeah, so they gave me this. Now, I wasn't really eating...
but that first time, basically, once his intestines started ringing, he didn't have but a second to get to the bathroom, and he couldn't make it. And his bathroom is right next to his bedroom door, and he couldn't make it.
So the second time I was in the hospital, and I was throwing up and pooping at the same time, and crying, because it was horrible. And then
you were in other pains.
Yeah, and then my blood pressure was so low.
He was pale. He actually was gray.
It was horrible. And then the third time, by the third time I already knew.
I think you started. You weren't eating a little ways.
Yeah.
Like you started like I did to this time. You just started early, not eating anything solid.
And then
because they tell you, I read 2 days ago. Oh, you could have chicken breast. You can have this. You can have that. Only if you plan on depositing it, letting it all come out the other end as harshly and cruelly as possible.
Yeah, Maria's like, I'm not doing this. If you ever have to have a colonoscopy, it's
either this or the horrific evil. Those little bottles are way more evil than this.
I like this better.
Old 1910 container.
Now, by the third time that I did it in my apartment, I had my phone.
Hi-ho.
I had my phone. and
The little poop.
thank you, Wayne, for that.
know.
But I was more prepared. I had my phone and it was charged, and I could watch videos because you're not going to leave your bathroom for at least 2 hours.
That's what we learned. Is
Yeah.
after the carpet incident.
Now here's the evil thing that Christian did to me. The third time.
He did it to me too.
The third time, because we have the Alexa, and it's almost near the bathroom. So he would go, Alexa, because you have to drink a cup every 15 minutes.
Never mind.
And Alexa, stop. So I would hear him say, Alexa, set that alarm for 15 minutes.
Because you have to drink 8 ounces every 15 minutes till you get 3/4 of this gone.
So then I would hear her go off, and I knew he was coming. And then I would hear, babe.
He was literally crying. He was so sad. He was so...
Because you can't get up. You can't.
And your legs fall asleep. You start to freeze to death.
And then the emotions kick in.
And then his bathroom at least has a heating light. My bathroom has no heater in it. Now I have a nice little plug-in one that at least can warm it up a little bit.
Now, mind you, you're already like deprived of food for a couple of days.
Like me now. You're not happy.
So if you've ever gone on a fasting or a cleanse of any kind, and you're not eating properly, you know how your system gets. You get emotional. Your brain starts thinking crazy things.
I watched a show where a kid didn't know, an actor, a character, not even a real person, didn't know his mother's birthday. And I just started bawling. I'm like, how could you not know your mom's birthday? You only get one mom, and once they're gone, I'll start crying again if I get too far into it. But I'm all like, it was not even a relevant thing hardly, and I'm crying. I've cried like 5 times today. I cried in my car coming home because someone was right on my tail, and I was scared they were going to hit me.
So all that, and now you're in the bathroom, pretty much isolated
with nonstop diarrhea
for like 2 to 3 hours, and you're
because you have 15 minutes. There's no way around it. It's every 15 minutes, so it's going to take a couple hours.
I recommend that you have somebody there with you. Otherwise, you're just in the bathroom with this jug and a cup for 3 hours, and that's just horrific. At least if somebody's there with you, you can hear voices, so you can have a conversation every time.
Oh yeah.
But those 15 minutes last. I mean, they feel forever.
It does,
and you feel so alone and so lonely. It's really harsh
because you're in a bathroom.
Yeah.
No one's supposed to be in the bathroom for 2 or 3 hours. Dear God, I hope not. And it's just insane when you're in there for that long because it's, those rooms weren't built for occupation that long. And, I'll bring my iPad in, I'll have a movie on, but it's still every 15 minutes you just feel it come, and oh God, I got to drink this. And this time, this one's flavored pineapple.
He hasn't tried it yet.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet.
But they're usually not.
They'll say like cherry, pineapple, orange, lemonade. It's all BS. It all tastes like CRAP. It tastes like what's been coming out, basically.
Yeah, Maria wants to know which one of us. I will admit that.
Daniel, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to poop, so it's. We'll be there for you, Maria. Don't worry, we'll be there.
Well, and honestly, we would, because you really shouldn't do it alone. It's horrible. And then I guarantee you need someone to escort you to a chair or bed. For me, it's going to be my couch with my massager I'm woefully addicted to and can't afford to replace, even though it's all threadbare now.
Now, the thing is that, like, you have, like, he's only going to drink
3/4.
3/4 of it, but everything needs to come out clear.
Like, basically, they said like it should look like urine, like a very pale yellow. What's coming out, obviously not your urethra, but out your rectum.
Yes, but everything has to be white.
It has to be like very pale yellow, and that's when you're cleaned out, and like with no specks in it, nothing. And I'm like last time, I got to the pale yellow, but there was still stuff in it, so I did not. The one thing they gave me did not work. Now this time they're going to do 2, but I told them I'm starting my clear fluid thing a couple days in advance, And that's when they decided they just wanted to give me the one, because they go, we probably won't need two then if you're going to start at that, or if you're already starting it.
So now we're
That's
50
why
minutes,
we recommend it.
We're 50 minutes in. For those of you joining us, it's the Christian and Daniel Show. And today we're talking about colonoscopies. Not a comfortable conversation, but Christian's getting one tomorrow. And we thought this was the perfect opportunity to share our experiences with you guys. I've had 3, one before cancer and 2 after
Keeps like bragging
cancer.
about them. I've had
Yeah,
3.
I've survived 3 colonoscopies.
I've had 2. I'll have 2 after tomorrow. So it's like, ooh.
I've had 3 caramels up my butt. What have you done with your life?
And he hasn't even, he hasn't even hit 50 yet. Just wait. Then next year they're going to be like, oh, time for a voluntary colonoscopy now.
But if you guys have any questions about colonoscopies, if you haven't had one, and you have any questions about what we went through, or what the process was, or how we prepped, other than the prep for it, please ask us out. We're checking it out.
Oh, and I have, they say get fat-free chicken broth, which is supposed to be like food. And, that's hilarious, Maria. And I highly recommend just use bouillon, chicken bouillon, because at least it has some flavor. Because this fat-free, low-sodium chicken broth I got, it literally makes me nauseous.
Yeah.
It's so bland, and it just has fat. That's all it has, is it's fat-free. So I don't know what it is that's floating on top, but it's not fun.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with them, at any grocery store, you can go into the seasons where all the seasonings are,
And they have jars of it or squares.
Yeah, I recommend going to the Latin American
Market.
aisle,
the Mexican aisle.
because
I'm sorry, I hate to say that.
they have the Nor flavor in it, and they come in the little jars. But if you just make some soup, basically make just
The broth. It's clear. It's totally clear. It's like exactly it's the same thing as the chicken broth, but it's not bland and disgusting.
Or if you plan with enough time, get a chicken and boil it.
And if you have a pressure cooker, you can make really good. Daniel made amazing soup in our pressure cooker.
So if you just do that and just put extra water into it, it'll really help you
It
have
tastes
that broth
much
ready.
better.
Yeah,
too.
it'll have that broth ready.
Natural would be so much better.
Plus, you can season it with whatever you want. I would recommend also don't need a lot of...
Of course, it can't be anything red.
No, and don't need anything spicy beforehand.
Because what's going to happen, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. So don't need anything too spicy.
If it burns going in, it's going to kill you coming out.
Yeah, because all that is going to push it out. So for those of you joining us, I see some more names popping up. It's the Christian and Daniel Show, and we're talking about colonoscopies.
At least for the moment.
Yes.
Because I'm doing mine tomorrow.
He gets one tomorrow, and for those of you wondering what this is, if you're just joining us, this is the prep liquid. This is what you take before...
You drink 3/4 of it from 6 p.m. the night before your appointment. And then you get to drink it 3 hours before your appointment. You get to drink the last bit of it, just to make sure you suffer right before you go into the hospital.
And again, they usually recommend that like a day or 2 days before you start on a liquid diet. Mm-hmm. But our recommendation really is, if it's your first time, do like 3 or 4 days in advance.
And you're going to suffer. 3 or 4 days without food is really difficult. And even if you're someone who does fasting, maybe it wouldn't be so hard. But it's really difficult. Like, I'm basically living off chicken bouillon and Jell-O. You don't realize Jell-O is just water. It just goes through you.
And the first time we got you popsicles too.
Oh, I have Pedialyte popsicles too. Yeah. But I had a couple of those, and they weren't sitting as well as I would like.
But if you're comfortable with it,
the good thing with Pedialyte is it has the electrolytes. It has everything like to keep you from getting dehydrated. Because that's the other side of this. It's when you do this clear liquid, it's easy to get dehydrated, even though you're doing all these clear liquids. So you still have to be conscious of make sure you have your electrolytes and that you're getting everything your body still kind of needs, except for maybe the caloric count.
And if you're like me, that I'm hungry all the time, really all the time I'm hungry.
He is, literally.
Not eating 2 days before, like a full meal. And I know for all of you that follow me, how much I love my tacos. If I'm hungry, I run to the kitchen, heat up a tortilla, throw something in it, and I'm good. But not being able to do that for a couple of days, I think it also like warps your brain a little bit.
It does. Like right now, things aren't processing in my mind right, because my brain is kind of it's just not. It's working. I feel like I'm working in a fog.
Yeah.
Like right now, I didn't like that I was driving today because I was foggy, and I just got my car out of the body shop, and I'm like, oh great, I'm driving. I'm going to end up getting an accident because I noticed I wasn't as alert. Like I wasn't watching for people crossing the street. Now I didn't hit anyone and didn't come close to it, but I easily could have, because I would never have noticed them. I would have just started going. And, yeah, it is awful, David. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyone, it's, I'll divest for a sec. Anyone who sees you walking through a parking lot of a hospital or a pharmacy or a grocery store, coming from a pharmacy that's in the grocery store, and they see this, if this happens to be in your hand and you don't have it, like, hidden, anyone who knows will look at it and just go, oh, that poor MF.
Yeah, if you see anybody with one of these,
going to suffer, or someone they know is going to suffer.
If you see anybody with one of these, go shake their hand.
And just tell them, God bless you. God bless you.
And then post colonoscopy, because I think that's important too.
You know what? I was useless after mine. Like you cannot go to a colonoscopy alone. The hospital won't let you drive yourself home. They will not let you go home without someone there. I don't even think they'll take you in, because Kaiser made it very clear. You have someone bring you, and you have someone take you home, and that person has to wait there. The person can't leave and then come back.
Yeah.
So it's like they're very, at least, and that's Kaiser. They're not even top of the line. I mean, they're not. I've never had a problem with Kaiser, but I know most people don't think they're top line. They think they're pretty ghetto. So,
but they treated you really well.
I know. So I'm not going to pretend like it's. I have not had bad experiences, but I know a lot of people have. But I'm just telling you, if they're demanding it, I'm sure every other place is going to even be more demanding.
And now, mind you, the process from beginning to end can be different for it depends on you. Like I know a lot of people who fast, and a lot of people who do just liquid diets like half the day or whatever.
Or they do all the cleanses.
Yeah, if you're used to that, this is probably not going to be.
It probably won't hit you that hard. Yeah.
But the liquid makes, like I said, it
that will hit you hard.
Out. So post colonoscopy, you might expect your stomach to feel a little. No, it's David. It's his second one. And it's going to be, I've had 3 of them.
Well, it's not going to be his third one. He already had his third one.
But post, your stomach muscles are going to hurt because you've been straining a lot. Mm-hmm. Your butt is going to hurt a lot.
Well, if they cut out, like for me on my first run, I wasn't even completely cleaned out. And unfortunately, my regular doctor couldn't do it. So I got some substitute lady who I have nothing good to say about as far as her personality. But she did her job very well. Even though I wasn't cleaned out, she still went in and she cut out 16 polyps that first time. Talk about that terrified me for one thing. I'm like, I had that many? And she goes, and that was just in the small space that I could get to, that she found 16. So she goes, that's a lot. She goes, so you need to come back in and do the full on where we could go all the way in and really, really find all of them and get them cut out and then tested.
So
which is why I'm doing it twice in 1 year.
Yeah, so after your treatment, I always took some Motrin or something for the pain.
And I can't do that anymore. But what happened is, what was it, about 4 or 5 hours after, I was sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden, my rectum hurt. Like all the stuff, I felt everything they cut out, I could feel. And it wasn't like where I couldn't sit or I was suffering. I didn't take anything for it. But I could feel it. Like, it was sore back there. You think a gay man, really? It's sore back there from that? But, the other activities that have gone on back there don't cut things out of me. I laugh at that because everyone always thinks for gay men this would be so easy. And I go, if you don't have any polyps, I actually think it would be pretty easy.
And they did put you out, right?
I was out on Michael Jackson's Cocktail, the propofol. They showed me, like, they go, we're giving you propofol, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, because I've never been put under ever until that first time.
I was out all 3 times because sometimes I've been told.
Well, and you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be awake for this.
So I've heard where people are mildly out. No. But I've never.
Don't let anyone cut costs doing that to you, because what if you tense up? That's the thing. They can't have you tense up your rectum or anything when they're in there.
We lost the camera
because. Well, no, because you could literally hurt yourself, or not, or worse, they could cut through your rectum. I mean, there's lots of horrible things that can happen. I remember the sheet they have you sign right before they put you out, conveniently, right there when you're laying there on your side with your butt hanging out, and they're starting to put stuff around there. They bring you this sheet, and it says, we could pierce your rectum, we could pierce your... It's terrifying, all the things that could go wrong. I mean, and obviously colonoscopies are routine, so they really... Usually, things don't go wrong.
I've never heard anything.
But they're just covering themselves liability-wise by saying you've been warned. And it's not like they're giving you a choice. Like when you're laying there and they're about to pump the propofol, it's not like you're going to say, oh no, I'm not going to sign this, I'm not going to do this. And you just get... I mean, F that. After going through all this, you damn well are going to go in there and take a peek. Nah, there's no way I'm not doing it. But it's funny, they give it to you at the last second. Like literally right before you're about to be put out. They're like, sign this. And you're like, oh, it just says we could kill you. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem.
For those of you joining us, we're almost in the last 5 minutes of the episode. This is the Christian and Daniel show.
And that's only because in a half hour I have to start.
Yeah, so we're giving them a little chance to rest. But today we decided to talk about colonoscopies and the process.
And I turned 50 this year. And even if I'd never had one last year before, if I didn't have it, they when you turn 50 is when they start saying once a year you need to go in and get a colonoscopy. Because you very seriously need to be checked for anal cancer, rectal cancer, or colorectal cancer, which, believe me, are all 3 different things. And that way they want to try and catch it as early as possible, because in many men who put this off or don't do it, by the time they find those cancers, which are not aggressive, they're not super aggressive cancers, they're slow growing cancers for the most part.
So that's why
but by the time they find them, they're late stage. And that's why so many men, that's why if you haven't got the check, it's late stage, and late stage cancer is terminal.
That's why a lot of doctors now recommend starting at 40 instead of 50, so that you can get ahead of it.
And it's also based on your family history. If your dad had even if your dad had prostate cancer, which is quite common across all people, all races, but if you have a father, grandfather, if there's a history of cancer, any type of cancer, you should get colonoscopies long before you're 50. Yeah. You should start getting them early, because it obviously runs in your genetics, cancer of any kind.
So go get checked.
So go get checked. That, you know what, they knock you out, you don't really feel it. Afterwards, you may not be comfortable for a couple days afterwards, but it goes away and you resume your normal life. And you get to eat.
So we're going to let you guys go. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 2 of the Christian and Daniel show. We're going to do our best to do this once a week and just share our experience, what we're going through. If you have any questions...
Thank you, David. Yes, I'm glad they did too.
If you have any questions, or if there's anything you want us to talk about, we're an open book and we're happy to share it. But for now, we're going to say thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, my condolences, David.
We're always sorry to hear anyone died from cancer. Colon cancer, again, that's why we're doing this today. It's just hoping the few people who may hear it or may see it, it might inspire someone to go, well, I have a history, and maybe I should, as much as so many men, even gay men, people all think gay men, it's easier. It's not. No one wants this procedure.
And for those of you...
most men would be like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
they don't even want a finger.
Those of you that didn't know, I had anal cancer in 2015, so that's why procedures like this are really important.
And they didn't find it because of a colonoscopy. They found it by accident because he had another surgery for a large hernia. And thank God they found it, because, again, it was slow growing, but it was significant. Yeah. And
so it's important for us to be able to share this information with you guys.
Not every show is going to be like this.
No. But again, for those of you just catching on, you can go back and replay this and watch it. Also follow us on YouTube on Daniel G Garza on YouTube, where you can find episode 1 of the Christian and Daniel show and other videos on there. So go find it, subscribe. It'll be on the description. But for those of you prepping for a colonoscopy, number 1, start as soon as you can
on the clear liquid
diet. Number 2, prepare yourself for being in the bathroom for at least 2 to 3 hours.
And not to be with someone who you don't feel would be laughing at you the entire time.
Yes.
At your suffering.
Take a book, take a video.
Take an iPad or whatever you got.
Be prepared to hurt the next day, the day after.
Or even right after this, probably about 4 or 5 hours after the procedure, you'll start to feel a little... I start to feel a little bit. I can't say that for everyone. But I had 16 polyps cut out, so I felt that.
Yeah. Things we recommend to drink are jellos, clear broths, popsicles, teas.
And they say after you fast like this, you can't just jump back into like, oh, I'm going to go have a Whopper with cheese and all this stuff, because they go, literally, you'll get sick or you'll have diarrhea or something. You can't. They said I basically have to slowly ramp back up to eating regular food, like go from my liquids to soft foods, like baby food.
But it's something we totally recommend. If your doctor suggests you to do it, do it. And if you need some words of support or you want to talk to somebody about it, get in touch with us.
Yeah.
For now, we want to thank you for joining us.
And by the way, all 16 of my polyps came back completely benign. They're just from friction.
Thank you.
A lifetime of friction. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, babe.
Thank you.
Love you.
I love you too. Particularly with what he's going to watch me go through.
We will talk to you guys next time. Have a good one. And remember, give somebody a hug.